Hi everyone, this is Natalie with Champion of Coins Tarot. I hope that you all are doing very well today. I wanted to come on to film a response to Kelly Bear's new tag, 54321 Tarot. I thought this was such a cute idea. We are invited to share 5 decks of our choosing, 4 books of our choosing, 3 spreads of our choosing, 2 paraphernalia, or 2 like accessories or supplemental items that we use when we do readings, and lastly 1 piece of advice for anyone who is watching the video. And yeah, it's been like so long since I've actually filmed the tag on time, like within a week of it coming out, so I thought I would just go ahead and jump in. The 5 decks that I chose are ones that I am looking forward to using in the later half of the year. So between now and December, I have a method where I go through and I loosely assign out which decks I'm going to be working with every single month, and I keep track of them in a spreadsheet. And these are ones that have not appeared yet, or they are ones that I want to go back and give a second look to. So without further ado, the first one is out of print, but this is probably the most unique deck that I have in my collection right now. This is the Dante Tarot. It was originally published by Lo Scarabeo in the early 2000s, and it is based off of the Divine Comedy. So the majors are fairly traditional, and then the minors are based off of Dante's life and Dante's writings. So the Suit of Bricks is about his actual life living in medieval Florence, his time as a student, his political activism, his great loves, and his great losses in life. And then the Suit of Flames is based off of the Inferno. The Suit of Clouds is based off of Purgatorio. And the Suit of Lights is based off of Paradiso. I absolutely love the Divine Comedy. I think it is one of the most important works of world literature. It means so much to me. I've had this deck for a long time. I've never personally done a reading for myself with it, but over the course of the last few years, I've been going through and matching up line by line the actual verses in the Divine Comedy that correspond with either these events in Dante's life or, the actual canto. And I'm hoping that one day I will complete that project and be able to share that magnum opus with all of you, because I think it is really fascinating whenever there are literary adaptations, or where there are adaptations trying to tie some other kind of media to the existing tarot structure. And I don't know how successful this one will actually be for divination, but I do know that this is absolutely true to the essence of the Divine Comedy, just in terms of theme and its portrayal of the events of those poems. So that is the first deck. The second deck is the Navigator Tarot of the Mystic Sea. This deck is one that I really want to bond with, and I just haven't been able to do it in previous years. Partially, it is just my own fault for neglecting it, and part of it is that I have some kind of internal resistance towards it. I love the artwork. I think it's very beautiful, and I actually really enjoy the keywords. This is the 1996 version with the full guidebook that I was gifted, and I previously had a more modern edition that just had the little white book, and the guidebook is what's actually really throwing me with this, because it's rooted in a very Christianized interpretation of Kabbalah, which I don't resonate with. And so I'm trying to figure out a way to be able to get this to mesh with my own personal belief system and with my own practices. We'll see how successful I actually end up being. I don't want to give up on this necessarily, because I think it is just really beautiful. And it feels like it has a lot of wisdom to offer. So my goal within the next few months is to figure that out. Next deck is the Pagan Otherworlds Tarot. This is one that so many people know and love. I really love this deck aesthetically, but this is another case where I haven't really felt too strongly called to use it. I remember it always being very still and precise. Like, it feels like it just tells you the truth, and that can be very, very useful sometimes. But I haven't reached for it. I've just kind of been waiting for this season of the year when we were scheduled to have some one-on-one time together. So I'm very interested to see what comes up there. The next deck is the Deviant Moon Tarot. I actually really like Deviant Moon Tarot. This is another one that's very seasonal. It only seems to want to come out to play in the fall or in the winter. I love the artwork. I feel like this deck can at times be very comforting, and then at times it can be very irreverent and sarcastic. You never really know what kind of experience you're going to have working with it, at least in my experience with it. But this is a modern tarot classic. It's one that feels quite quintessential. So very, very excited to continue working together. And then last but certainly not least is the Yenian Tarot by Robert Wang. So this deck has not one, not two, but 3 guidebooks. I have all of them. I've kind of been studying them on and off. And I pulled out this deck recently and was just suddenly struck by the Empress card. This deck is entirely based off of the work of Carl Jung and his archetypes, his kind of internal family systems, a lot of his own personal writings in the Red Book, or Liber Novus, which I also have and have also extensively studied several years ago. But yeah, this hit me in a very new way. It hit me in a very intuitive way. And I think I've been putting off working with this deck because I felt like I had to go back and do all those layers of study, and I still want to. But this card kind of changed everything for me, and so I'm very, very excited to continue working with it. I will go ahead and show you the rest of the deck. This is very much Pippish in style. The minors are all related to the decans and the traditional astrological associations one would see in the Golden Dawn, so the Rider-Waite-Smith and Thoth styles of tarot. But again, the majors are where you really see some key differences, along with the court cards. Like, look at this world. Let's see if we can get it to focus here. That is just so powerful to me, having the world be this masked figure. Have the devil. This plays a lot with color symbolism and with different myths and kind of recurring motifs from global mythology as well. Oops. So yes, I'm quite excited to continue working with this deck. So if those were 4 decks that I am looking forward to connecting with more, I thought I would go in a different direction for books. These are actually my 4 favorite tarot books of all time as of September 2023, when we're all responding to this tag. So first and foremost, Holistic Tarot by Venabelle Wen. This is an absolute tome, and I think that if you were to have one tarot guidebook for the Rider-Waite-Smith, this could easily be it. It goes into just all of the card meanings, of course, but then you also have how to read and how to craft your own spreads, being able to reframe difficult questions, how to reflect on your own ethics as a tarot reader, how to read the cards through the lens of love or career and personal development, and then just really thorough appendices with sample logs. She includes information about the Tarot de Marseille, so you can compare to the Rider-Waite-Smith, and just one of the best bibliographies. There are so many different jumping off points. I think that Holistic Tarot really shows you the full realm and scope of possibility that one can have along their tarot journey. So I refer back to this all the time. This is well loved, well used. I have so many notes in here, so many highlighted passages, as you saw, especially in the encyclopedia section. This really helped to accelerate my journey like nothing else did. The other great beginner guidebook that I would recommend, which I actually do not have anymore because I have gifted every single copy I've ever gotten, 78 Degrees of Wisdom by Rachel Pollack, another fantastic introduction to the Rider-Waite-Smith. Rachel Pollack's writing is so poetic. She was able to translate all of the tarot archetypes in a very immediately accessible way. Put into context traditional historical interpretations while also giving you room to grow and explore yourself as a reader. It's just really, really amazing. If I recall, she also goes quite into the relationship between tarot and the Holy Grail myth and kind of contextualizes that within the larger landscape of medieval kind of Christian occult philosophy. So really great. Like I said, I have had multiple copies of that book and I've ended up gifting it to friends, family, loved ones, anybody who's getting into tarot for the first time who maybe does not have the same affinity for 700-page tomes. Actually, no, 900-page tomes like this one is. Another one that was really, really foundational and that I also return back to all the time is Lon Milo DuQuette's Understanding Aleister Crowley's The Thoth Tarot. This is another one that I've just completely annotated. It's so faded now, you can barely see the highlight anymore in most of these sections. This really helped me to unlock the Thoth Tarot. This helped me to particularly be able to understand the astrological influences in the tarot for the first time, and I have been utilizing this for the Decan Walk. If you have not seen the Decan Walk yet, Marlena Teresa is walking us through the entire year of astrological correspondences in the minor arcana of the tarot, so I will leave her channel and that playlist linked down below. But this is great if you want to learn about Thoth, if you want to learn about astrology. Also really, really good introduction to Hermetic Kabbalah. I'm not a Hermetic Kabbalistic practitioner. I am a traditional Jewish Kabbalist, but this is very helpful for understanding the associations as Aleister Crowley intended them to be in his own system. And then last, but certainly not least, this is for the more advanced practitioner or for anyone who wants to use tarot not only as a means for divination or for personal growth work, but to be able to connect with deceased loved ones in spirit. That is Ancestral Tarot by Nancy Hendrickson. I do have a full video on my channel about my ancestor practice and about how this book in particular has helped me. Nancy Hendrickson is a professional genealogist and she's also a medium, and she gives you so many different spreads and exercises that you can use to be able to connect with all kinds of ancestors, not only those who you knew in this lifetime, but also going further and further back through the family tree. She also goes into some past life stuff if you are interested in that, and has a lot of really helpful tips for building up your own correspondences, your own signs and synchronicities, and kind of agreed upon interpretations that are unique to yourself and to your family. This has just completely changed the game for me, and I absolutely have to recommend it to everyone now too. Next are our 3 tarot spreads. These are the 3 that I use the most in my own personal practice. 2 of them are ones that have been staples for almost 10 years, and then the last one is a new spread that I discovered this summer, which has been very beneficial to me and to a lot of the healing work that I've been doing. So let's go ahead and start with the staples first. This is the basic layout for a within without advice spread. This spread originated from the Mary L. Tarot guidebook, but I discovered it via Kelly Fitzgerald of The Truth in Story. So the first card is within. So what is going on inside of yourself, in your heart space, in your mind space that day? Without is what is going on in your external environment that you need to be aware of. And finally, you have the advice card, how you can either synthesize these together or how you can determine what is most important, or just good actionable advice for what your next step to take would be in a given situation. I do this daily. Right now I've been using the Gypsy Palace Tarot to do this, and it's been absolutely amazing. So those are the card backs that you see here. Highly, highly recommend. So another tried and true one is just an adaptation of a cross spread. This isn't a full Celtic cross. This is just kind of the basic 5-card cross. So we have past, present, future, above, below. So this is also really helpful for synthesizing. I tend to view this above card as being messages from my higher self or higher perspective of the situation that I need to be aware of. And then the lower card is kind of looking at either the shadow or what the core is, like what is the big theme that is being expressed in this journey right now that is evident at a subconscious level, but that might not be accessible to me in my everyday conscious life outside of tarot. So this is amazing, super simple, but it works. Great for kind of monthly check-ins, or, you know, anytime that I'm in the midst of a cycle and I want to see how things are progressing. And then the last spread comes from the Tarot Handbook. This is huge. This is by Aleister. I actually got this book over the summer, and it is a Thoth guidebook. So I've been enjoying comparing that to Lon Milo Duquette, but I really, really love this for, the spreads that it contains. This one is called the Self-Esteem spread, and this is kind of my go-to shadow work, self-love, self-care. So the 3 major components of self-esteem are self-love, self-trust, and self-respect. And the 3 main ways in which we can sabotage our own self-esteem are through fear, control, or fixation. So this spread is really helpful for looking at ways in which you are growing your self-esteem, or ways in which you may need to more lovingly pay attention to it and to cultivate it more. This is 6 cards. The first is your ability to set limits and boundaries. The second card is flexibility and openness. The third card is your ability to give and receive love and to follow your heart. The fourth is your capacity for staying in your truth or integrity. The 5th card represents your communication skills. And then the 6th and final card is your sense of honor and respect towards yourself. So I really, really love this. This again has been great for shadow work. A lot of the themes that have come up in journaling while using this spread have been very helpful as a supplement for discussion in therapy, or have provided opportunities to maybe open up conversations with loved ones in my life. So this has been really great. Another very good boundary spread that I recommend is one that Peekaboo Rose recently shared in a video, and I will leave that linked down below as well. That one is much more condensed and is really focused on the boundary piece. But I really enjoyed that video as well, and I wanted to offer that as a great resource too. Next are 2 pieces of tarot paraphernalia, or accessories, things that we use in a reading. So this is my pendulum. This was, I can't remember what she goes by now, but I think this was by Power Femme Tarot back in the day. These prayer beads are originally in honor of Lilith, but I use them more broadly to just honor the dark feminine and also to honor Snake, which is my spirit guide. So I will use this to help choose which deck I want to work with, and also to offer more clarity if I need like a yes or a no answer in the midst of doing either a spread or doing a working with spirit, or just some other situation that calls for these big guns here. So that's always in the space. And then something that I have been enjoying using recently is I kind of dug this out of storage. This is the little card holder that came with the Prism Visions Cosmovisions Kickstarter a few years ago. It's just a simple woodcut. You have the flower of life there, and I've been using this to put out either cards that I want to continue to reflect on, or art cards that are very important to me. So for this season of Rosh Hashanah, I pulled out the extra card from the Gil Tarot, which has the Tree of Life. This to me is very much like Shekhinah, Asherah, divine Jewish feminine vibes. So I've had her out in the space, and I've just been enjoying just kind of like putting other cards or other artwork there to act as a focal point, sometimes for meditation and sometimes just to carry over the energy of a previous working. Last but not least, we are invited to offer one piece of advice. My advice is that the messages of tarot are meant to be lived. We are meant to take the wisdom from the cards and to actively apply that to our life in order to actualize the change that we want to see. One trap that I have personally fallen into on and off over the years is continuing to read about one particular issue over and over and over again and being too afraid or too resistant to do the thing that would be necessary to resolve the situation, either because it's challenging or because it pushes me outside of my comfort zone. And that kind of paralysis is not helpful. The cards are certainly magical in the sense that they can unleash so much wisdom that we wouldn't normally have access to in our conscious waking mind, but they're not miracle workers. They are not going to be able to change the outcome of a situation. Only we can do that by taking conscious action. And so I encourage you, if you find yourself reading about the same situation over and over, to put down the cards and to go out and face that thing head on. It will be much better for you in the long run. And afterwards, you can take that lived experience and you can use that as a catalyst for the next reading. So those are my answers to 54321 Tarot. I hope that you enjoyed. This was quite fun to make. I don't know who to tag, and I don't think that I was actually ever tagged by anyone. So I'm just going to say, if you would like to participate in this, please do. I think that this is such a fun way to connect with other people, to find new resources that we haven't had before, and to continue to bond over our love for this amazing, amazing gift. As always, I am sending you much love and many blessings as you walk along your own path. Bye.